Hello, it's the People Mentor, and we're popping in today to talk about networking, all good things around networking. Now, I want to introduce you to Sarah Cook, who is absolutely ace at this, has a wonderful networking group for businesses, and she may well tell me it's for much more than businesses, but it's really got a lovely feel to it, a lovely vibe, and it's really helpful. And I think that's key when you're networking. So without further ado, Sarah, tell us a bit more about yourself and then tell us a bit how you started this networking group, because I'm intrigued.
Oh, thank you, Nicola. Yeah, so my name is Sarah and I run Come Network With Me, which is aimed at female small business owners, founders, leaders who want to grow their business in a life-friendly way. And networking for me is a massive part of that, that enables them to do that with joy and excitement and really bring out the best in themselves and use the other skills. And sort of like the pockets where they need a bit of support from the others in a community. I got into networking. When I look back on it, I realized that it was always meant for me, but I didn't really know that was the thing that was meant for me. I love bringing people together. I love working with women, seeing how
Mhm.
relationships grow, how they can help each other. If I was responsible for seeing a collaboration come together, that would really light me up. So my background has been in events, marketing, and social media. And then through that journey, you use networking, through that, whatever you're doing.
Mm.
So I was using it as a small business owner, but realized this was something that I really wanted to kind of sort of get my teeth into myself and facilitate my own networking that had an exceptional experience for everybody. So not just come along and do what you do regularly. Every other thing I want it to be really quite unique and, like you said, a feeling that you're getting something really helpful, really, really
Yeah.
valuable. And you go away and think, not only do you feel more confident in your skills and what you're doing in your own life, personally and professionally, but you've gained like real insights from people who've had those similar experiences. So I just find it's just such a wonderful and really powerful part of marketing yourself and your business to grow and really rapidly grow as well.
Yeah, and I find it fascinating because your sessions are an hour and they go so quick. And it is a mix, isn't it? Because you have your introductions, then you have a question if somebody's got a question they need to ask. And that's always helpful because it's often a question that probably all of us are thinking about and are not voicing. So that's really good. Um, and it's also a space where you can be quite vulnerable at times. And I certainly remember that before Christmas being very vulnerable and nobody knocks each other. It's all about support, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is really, really important for me, having experience attending other networking
Mm.
events. Some were amazing, some were average, some were not so. Um,
Yeah.
it's really helped me to kind of create that formula that I feel really works. And the question time is so important because we do always have questions, but often we don't take the time to sort of sit and think, what do I really need help with? We have not enough time to sort of reflect and think. So I think it's always good to do that. But yeah, I want people to be able to come networking and think, I can just be myself. I can just be completely honestly myself. I can be transparent with the challenges I'm facing, whether it's something personal in my life that's affecting my business, or whether it's something directly in my business. I can share that knowing I'm not going to be judged.
Mm.
I'm not going to be criticized for it. There's not going to be any gossip. It's not going to go anywhere, but I'm going to feel like I've received this warm, kind, compassionate hug that's made me
Mm.
feel better about sharing that. Because that's the worst thing is when you do share something, you then feel a bit naked from sharing. Whereas I feel that in the networking that I host, when people share something vulnerable, they then feel warm and, happy that they
Definitely.
shared because of the reception that they receive from each other.
Yeah, definitely. And you actually reminded me of a story there when I used to go face-to-face networking and we would do our 60-second pitch. And I would always share a story of something that had happened. And on one of these occasions, I talked about the GROW model and how I'd used it with a client and went through what GROW was, goal, reality, opportunity, and objectives rather, and then the will all the way forward. Now, immediately after I'd finished, when everybody had finished their 60-second pitches, a gentleman came up to me and he said, well, I don't agree with how you defined what the GROW was. That's not how I define W. And I said, well, I think if you go and Google and if you look and do research, you'll find that it's a variety of W's. And so you can pick the one that you feel the most comfortable with. But he was really insistent on knocking me down. And to me, that is a completely wrong thing to do in networking. It's about building
Yeah.
each other up and about supporting each other. So, you've kind of reminded me of that story and exactly why I stopped going to that networking, because I just thought I don't need that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my ethos is all about empowerment. We should feel
Mm,
empowered. Like when people talk about going to networking events and they're not sure whether it's for them, I say it's quite, to me, I think it's quite a straightforward question answer. You attend something, and if afterwards you feel uplifted, positive, inspired, and you've gained good energy from the other people in a virtual room or a physical room, then it's for you. If you feel the opposite, if you feel a
mm.
bit battered and a bit drawn and a bit drained, and your energy is being zapped from you, then they're not the right people for you. So you just got to go on your own feeling at the end of that session. But good networking should lift you up, really
Mm.
inspire you, and make you think, my goodness, I can like take on the world.
Exactly. And I really think that leads into what do you think is the heart of successful networking? So I think you've more or less summed it up, but if you were going to put it into a sentence, how would you define what the heart is?
For me, the heart of successful networking is finding the right community of people where you've got aligned values, aligned missions and objectives with your business and also your personal life, because I feel that really integrates into what you do as a business
Mm,
leader. And you're looking to build meaningful relationships with these people. So you're looking at a longer term picture, and then you do that consistently. That's for me kind of the formula for successful networking. That's at the heart. It's the relationships that you have with those people.
yeah, and I absolutely agree. And I think in this current world that we're in, it's very easy to become isolated and detached. So I think that engagement brings you back to reality but also, as you say, and I do love that description, that warm hug, because that is what your community does give us. So, without a doubt. So yeah, so you imagined it, you developed it, and you've actually got it. So well done, Sarah, because it
Thank you.
is a hard job sometimes to get that sense of that feeling that it is a warm hug. So yeah, great stuff.
Thanks.
So how do you think effective networking influences the general leadership styles and decisions in a business setting? How would you think about that from a business point of view?
I think it influences communication skills and listening skills, discussions, taking on other people's perspectives, giving everybody a fair opportunity to contribute to a conversation. I think all of those elements, networking can help you be better at doing those things.
And I like the one about other perspectives, because I think that's a really important point. Um, and that's one of the reasons why I've gone out and decided to be a trustee again. I'd had a bit of a gap, and I've decided that I wanted to do something. And I met a lovely CEO who I've known for a while through Women in Business Networking. And I said to her, oh, I've been thinking about being a trustee again. And she said, oh, I'm sure we could find room for you. So that was a really nice bonus and made me feel good as well. So I've joined Centrepoint Outreach. And I love the fact that we're around, as trustees in a room, and we're actually networking at the same time as doing business, learning more about each other and getting those different perspectives and learning from each other as well. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love it when we have a networking session and someone says, that's really interesting. And my viewpoint is slightly different. Is it okay if I share that with you? And they're like, absolutely. I think, there is sometimes this danger that what we should do to be safe, and this I feel is more relevant for women as well, is just say what is expected, or
Mm,
say what everyone else is saying, because it's just easier, even if you're thinking something different. And you can have equal respect and admiration for people when you have different opinions. And I
yeah,
think that it's a really healthy way to have a
yeah.
conversation. So, and I want to like encourage people as much as possible to say, if you've got a different perspective, bring it. Yay, fantastic.
Well, I mean, look at Friday. I had a different perspective, probably from a lot of the women, but I wanted to share it. I felt I had the need to share it, and I felt yours was a safe place to share it. So it's by building that kind of community that starts to go out, I always think. And I think that's the same with leadership. When you're in team meetings, you're networking still. When you're going out and meeting other stakeholders and other people and you're networking still, make it a place where you're curious, I think, is
Yes.
key. And you might not agree with the other idea, but you want to hear it. And there'll always be 10% of what you're hearing that you'll like. So why not acknowledge that bit?
Yeah, yeah. And also, as a female leader, set that role model that we're open to all different opinions, perspectives, point of views.
Mm,
That's what makes us brilliant human beings, is listening to each other and taking all that into the melting pot of whatever you're growing. So,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So moving on, what are some common challenges that you think people face in networking and how can they overcome them?
I think the top three challenges are, number one would be anxiety or nerves or worry they're going to say the wrong thing, or they don't know anybody, or it's just sort of like, the pressure of the 1 minute or the pitch. Um, yeah, I'd say that's probably the number one. And
Hmm.
what you can do there is talk to the host of a networking session. They'll put you at ease. Go to lots of networking events of different sizes with different people just to build your confidence, and practice in a safe place. Find a couple of people that you value their opinion. Say, can I practice my 1 minute with you? It could be three people. And when you know that they're going to give you some constructive, helpful feedback, and then find, a couple of different sentences that you feel that really encompass what you want to express. And then you'll have those up your sleeve for when you're doing your 1 minute. The second one, I think, is people focus on getting the sales in networking as opposed to building the relationships. And I think that's just a misconception. They've just thought, oh, this is what happens, this is what you do. So I'd say, yeah, change that idea. This is not the best way. Make your intention to
Yeah.
basically make friends. Go in there thinking, how can I make friends with these people? How can I be helpful? How can I share my expertise and my opinion? So change your intention for relationship building and not sales focused. And then the third thing is that people aren't consistent in their networking, and they'll go here, there, and everywhere, which is good initially. Once you've found something that's good and helpful and is supporting you to grow, then dive in a bit more, go a bit deeper, and that involves being a bit more consistent in the networking that you do with those people.
Mm. And I think that's the bit that people often struggle with because of time constraints and fitting everything in. Because don't we feel like we've got to be really busy all the time? And actually, just picking the quality aspects would make much more difference, I think. And I think we
Yes.
forget that. And certainly with the 60-second pitch, I don't think it makes any difference how long you've been doing it. I still think you get a bit of butterflies and anxiety, and it's pushing you out your comfort zone quite often, but it's good. I like to tell stories if I can. I find that's where I feel my most comfortable. So something for me to think about is to make sure I keep bringing that in because I sometimes listen to other people and think, no, 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 just just do the pitch, and then sometimes you think, actually I missed out because I prefer the storytelling, because we relate to storytelling, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really, really good tip in the minute, in your 1 minute, is to bring in a story.
Mm,
People, see more into, your business and how you work. And it's so much more personal because then they're
mm.
they're getting, much, much more of you. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I must remember that one for myself in future to keep doing that. Okay, can you describe a time when networking significantly impacted your professional or personal growth?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this. So at the beginning of this year, I went to a business retreat, which was a small, intimate gathering of 8 or 9 women. And I think this kind of links to the last question, because I think one of the mistakes people make is they think, I need to network with hundreds of people all of the time. I need to go to the biggest events and meet the largest number of people. That's what's going to help me. And in my experience, and personally, I believe that you can get so much more from the small, intimate experiences. So this business retreat that I went to has then resulted in me having some really, really amazing relationships with these women. We're now still supporting each other, and that was never the initial intention. That's just grown as a result of us seeing how like-minded that we are, and
Mm,
how much that we've got in common, that we really actively want to encourage and support each other. We're now cheerleaders for each other, which is, the ultimate compliment for each of those individuals. So yeah, just
yeah,
see every networking opportunity as you're just opening your mind to, you don't know what could come from that. Um, and yeah, give it your all and focus on building relationships with those people. So for me, that's been brilliant. I had never expected to have these other women cheerleading me, and we're all doing that for each other. So that's really beautiful.
that's good, isn't it? And that's what it should be like. I have
Yes.
to say, I prefer the intimate type of networking, um, because I know that I'm actually, although I can do facilitating training, um, I know I actually prefer like the one-to-ones, the getting to know people, the small groups where you can really listen in, and otherwise they're too big and there's too much noise. Unless you set people up in small groups, and I know certainly from some of the things you've said around your networking with your face-to-face ones and things like that, that you're very much looking and exploring different ways of getting small groups together so that they get that advantage. So,
Yeah.
which is a really good idea in my view. So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, okay, what trends are you observing in networking today, and how do they approach the way leaders should look at it?
The trends that I'm seeing are around diversity, inclusion, equality, belonging, and linked to what we just talked about, small, intimate communities. So it's like being in a small, intimate community and ensuring that that has a variety of people in it, so that you've got different backgrounds, different cultures, different perspectives, because that gives you the best sort of representation
Mhm.
of a wide audience, and everyone grows and everyone's business is enriched from those different backgrounds and different perspectives. So definitely looking at how we can be more diverse and have better equality in our networking, like for me that I facilitate and the events that we attend. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I think as well, you've picked up on a word that I think is very important in work, in life, in networking as well, and that's the word belonging. You need to feel you belong, and that builds trust and means that you can then open up and be vulnerable. And I think that's so important. Um, and I've been in workplaces where I haven't felt like I've belonged. And then you don't give your all. You're holding back all the time. You don't feel like you can trust. And that's such a horrible feeling. And that matters to me, whether it's business or networking. I need to feel that I can trust those around me. So I think belonging is a really strong word that I would go back to, as well as the diversity, definitely.
Yeah, me too. At the moment, And I think, I don't know, maybe like just all of the time, belonging is, yeah, it really, really is a key word. Like you said, it's
Mm,
building that trust. You're in somewhere safe that you can share. And we're human beings. We want to have that connection with other people. We want to feel like we're part of something. We want to be in this this club and this
yeah.
this tribe, and knowing that we're someone in a collection that has a bigger purpose than just us as an individual.
Mm,
But the collective of those people joined up can have an even bigger impact. Yeah,
yeah.
belonging is a brilliant word.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, that goes back to, as you say, the tribe, finding your tribe in the workplace. That's finding, the people that have that want to do the same as you, improve things, have the same values. Um, it'll be very difficult if you're in a toxic environment. And honestly, I think sometimes we tell people to stay there and find the others that are similar and work together to change it. But if there's only a few of you, I think you have to be really honest. Are you ever really going to change that environment as it stands currently? Especially if you're not the senior leaders who are making it come down. So I think, sometimes we should say, if you're really feeling it's that toxic and there's very few of you, I think it's time to move on. And that's a hard thing to say to somebody.
Yeah.
And it's the same with networking. If you're not fitting in with that networking, if it doesn't feel right, if it feels quite a toxic environment to you, get out. Don't stay there. Go and find one that fits with what you want.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what key advice would you give to someone just starting to build their network, especially in a leadership role?
It takes time. It's not an overnight thing. So focus on the relationship building, focus on finding those deep, meaningful connections with other people, where you're looking for those like minds, shared values. Yeah, it's not overnight. It takes time, it takes commitment, takes persistence, and yeah, be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Um, and think about your intention as well. What do you want to gain from this? For some people, it's about the connection. It's about not feeling lonely. It's about, like we said, feeling like you belong somewhere and that peer support. Uh,
Mm,
if you're also looking for referrals and recommendations and to grow your client base as well, then that's another element. So be clear on what you're looking for, and yeah, just invest time in it. Like everything that we invest time in, we reap the rewards.
we do. Definitely. Definitely. And certainly I had a couple of years where I wasn't networking so much. Um, and that was because I'd become quite disillusioned with the whole ethos of networking. And it's not until I've stumbled on groups like yours, and there's a couple of others that I now do, and they fit with my values and that supportive network, which I think is key. So I think, don't give up. Just keep looking till you find the ones that fit with how you feel.
Exactly. And I always feel rather sad when people say, yeah, networking's not for me, it didn't work. It's
Mm,
just you haven't found the right group yet. So keep plowing on
yeah,
until you'll know, because you'll just be lit up when you're with those people and you'll gain so much from them.
exactly. No, totally agree. So our final question, Sarah, is where do you see the future of networking headed, especially considering the rise of remote work and digital platforms, and how should leaders adapt to these changes?
It's a big question, isn't
It
it?
is a big question. So just give it your best stab.
I feel that since the pandemic, everything we're in a different era now, aren't we? Everything's changed. And it's how can we use that online space to still get that connection, that bonding, that belonging,
Mm,
avoid loneliness, really support our mental health. And it can be done. It really, really can be done. So I think it's finding that balance between what the online space can offer you versus some in-person support as well. And that could be different for everybody. So for some people, it's much more heavy online and they do get all the things that they need from that. And for other people, then it's maybe a sort of 80-20, and others it's a 50-50. So I think it's a personal preference as to where that mix sits. But you can certainly, from the online space, you can certainly get that connection, and be in a community where you feel like, yeah, this is the place where I'm going to grow as a leader, grow as a business owner, grow as a founder, and you certainly can do it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, because I like face-to-face networking, and I did do one the other day actually, and I enjoyed it. It was nice to get out, and it was nice to see. What puts me off going face-to-face networking is that most of our face-to-face in this Lincolnshire county is based in Lincoln, and it's a good hour and a quarter, an hour and a half drive for me now. But that's another story, and that would take me into politics about how we don't have a ring road, and we go, and I don't want to go down that one. But I think online fits the bill for me definitely at the moment, and I get so much out of it. And I think again it goes back to what you said earlier about building those relationships. And as you quite rightly do in every one of your networking sessions, is you introduce and you bring in subjects where people can collaborate, and you suggest having conversations after your networking. And I think that's a really important point to remember. So I don't think it just stops when you're in that session. You need to go back out and have those conversations, and more of them. And from your networking, I've met a couple of people as well. So that's brilliant. So, and actually gone face to face with them, which has been really nice. So yeah, I think you're right. I think just look at the whole concept and look at what works for you, definitely. And I think for the future, yeah, I don't think online's going anywhere. I think it's here to stay,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to add, Sarah, before we sign off?
Just to say that it's been lovely and thank you very much. Really, really enjoyed this. And if any of the listeners want to come and join my women's business directory, which is all online, there's 200 or so women in there at the moment, and it's a growing directory. So it's a great place to be listed and be found. And then, as Nicola's mentioned, there's my membership, the tribe as well. So it's just been lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nicola.
We'll put the links in the YouTube summary as well, and when we share it on social media. So make sure you send me them all, Sarah. And I really appreciate you coming around and talking about networking. That was really brilliant. Thank you. And I think very much a needed subject.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Until next time.